I get home at 7:30. So I get home and there's a message on the machine and it's Leslie, the breeder, Grant. I have an emergency, please call me.
But they're not talking about
I
it.
don't know what happened.
Is she taking the cut?
They let Kate go with Matt from Russia to America.
No, when are you down?
Yeah,
Maybe Tuesday before.
I think so, but that, I don't think they ever came to this country on my mother's side. There was a brother that was Bernstein.
It's exotic,
So they
right?
had to be the Bernsteins, right? The grandparents.
No, my mother's brother was a Bernstein. They were in Philadelphia also. They came from Philadelphia.
Grandma's mother and father
Grandma's mother and father.
were Bernsteins, right? That's right. Another, what we were saying is Scott and ours, great.
I don't know,
But I never take pictures with my glasses on.
Did you know who Grandma's mother was?
I never met her.
No, I didn't even meet my mother-in-law. She was gone before I met her.
1928.
Right, right.
She died when I
When'd
was
you get
about,
married?
when Benny was about
1933. I met him in 1930.
Yeah.
We
28.
dated off and on for 3 years.
18, you were in 1910.
Benny,
And
you were 18 when your mom died? I was 15.
no. I know she died on Dave's birthday.
Well,
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, I heard that story too, Florence.
Yeah,
You're right.
March 15th, which was
You drank them both?
was the day that
But
she
you know
died.
what's interesting
Yeah.
is none of, actually, she was a diabetic. And when she died,
She died. She died
From
for,
pneumonia, not from
she had a diabetic coma.
She was relatively young. Somebody was sick in the family and she was
Who was
taking
it?
care of them. And then she caught the cold and it turned into pneumonia and she passed away.
There's tea bags. Then I got lots of tea bags.
Well,
Oh, tea
Kate.
bag,
When I talked to Kate,
Lynn. Lynn doesn't share tea bags
she
with
was feeling
anybody.
very guilty
Why is this?
because somehow,
Neither does Larry.
Really?
because of
I use
the
this TV
intermarriage, the sickness, she talked about a sickness. When I saw her,
There's cake here too, you want me to cut?
When, Michael?
When was this? I mean,
when she, the year before she died, I saw her the year before she died, my grandma, Kate. And she was feeling just extremely guilty because of the two brothers and two sisters, and she thought that had something to do with everybody dying early.
I'm sorry,
That's
B
what
made
that
everything.
generation. That's what she
We
thought.
had a big discussion about it. Oh. She
And I didn't know what,
cannot bake.
I
told
didn't
me
have
once
nothing,
for,
well,
She died in Florida, didn't she?
yeah. No, I was with her when she died.
Oh, in Florida?
Yeah.
There was Muriel's 17th wedding anniversary.
You went there once.
I was there when she was sick, but I was there.
He was there when she died and he
There were 7 Samuel Combs.
Yeah, no.
wait, 7 Samuel Combs
My
in
brother
school?
High is the one that started, the High was the one that changed his name at Crane High School.
According to Hyde, it was because your father couldn't, the bank was getting the accounts all mixed up.
No, no.
I got this.
You're
I had this-
Why don't you
Are you
get
talking
wait.
about legally, or are you talking about anything? Now, High went to Crane High School, there was about 3 or 4 cones in that, in those classes.
I heard it was about.
Now, what did you, Florence, tell your story.
No, that's
The
not.
story is the bank was messing
The
up.
bank would mess up and your grandfather couldn't read very well. And so I took him to the bank and they changed their name to Samuel Kane,
No,
Samuel
that's
Cohen.
While he was in high school, he was called
Well,
Kane.
this was before he went to high
No,
school.
legally, they changed the name when we bought the property.
Well, you would know better than I.
When we bought,
Wait,
Oh, my God. Get that on record, will you? Put that on record.
legally,
I told him that he would know better.
I'm sure I know the story.
He's old.
they changed her name in Philadelphia.
No.
No,
Boy, you weren't even close.
Yeah,
When you were
No, that's, at Crane High School, High went to Crane before he went to Marshall.
That's, I know, and the reason
His
he,
freshman
now
year.
wait a minute, the reason that he dropped out of
Wait,
Crane
this is
was
gonna
when
be
your
weird.
father was hit over the head
Oh, I remember that.
with the silver, and had a heavy plate put in his
With a
head.
color guide, it was-
And High stopped school, dropped out of school and went into the shoemaker place.
No, did he mean to work?
Yes.
Oh, well, that, I was.
Was he in college?
Yeah, what? No, this
Or
was
he
when
didn't
he,
quit in high
He was in
school?
high school, he probably was
1 year in
watching,
high school at
watching the
Crane.
place, and then he went to,
And
I
then
don't think he
after
quit
that,
school.
when
My father-
Sherman got better, he went back to the store, and then High decided he would go to Marshall instead of Crane.
that could have been, yeah, that's but he was called Crane,
Double punch.
Crane High School.
That I don't know.
That I remember actually.
The light's probably still on exposure.
And the one whose kids babysat for you.
You
And 3 or 4 others were girlfriends of his from
He's
Marshall.
working, here, I'll sit here.
And they all knew him as High Kane.
Yeah.
And he graduated high
Coffee
school.
candy?
Oh, yeah, that's sure,
that-
that's for sure.
Right.
I mean, everybody, they didn't know for about
No.
Cone actually, but that was, Cone was missing at Crane High School yet. I mean, he had the name of.
All I know is when you
Change the name of
Yeah, everybody decided to choose, you know, we didn't do it that way, but everybody liked the name, so they,
When
all
did
my
they
relatives.
All right, wait, is there any way you
only have
can
one question at a time.
But legally
video is
in
fine. Is there any way I can listen
1928,
to
when
the
we,
audio?
when
Well, that's your mother.
I know it.
yeah, that was before that, just before that. We just, when they decided to buy the gas station and garage,
Yeah.
they sold the 2 pieces of property, but legally they had to put the name Kane down there. And that from then on, otherwise we were just, everybody was called Kane regardless.
How old were you when your mom died?
18,
Here, do you know what she died from?
yeah, diabetic coma.
It was diabetic coma, and then... She got pneumonia.
She was,
There was pneumonia, there was somebody was sick in the family and she took care of them. And she caught a cold. And then
She would not
got
have
into
anything
went
to
into
do
a diabetic coma.
you know when that was actually.
Because you had diabetes.
I remember her packing up, she was packing
Only
all the
with my
dishes in
mother-in-law,
big barrels.
but not with
We were
those.
just
They
ready
were
to
going to move.
Yeah, we rented a big apartment.
All right. To this day,
Water.
when High
You
and I
guys are
got
gonna go down in
married,
history, is talking about tea.
Shimon gave us your mother's dishes.
I didn't know that, where are they?
I have...
What? She's got them now. She's got them. Service for 12, Nora Take China. Yeah.
Nora took China, 54 years of marriage, never heard that. That's because I don't want you to know. You want to share the
High and Shimon were refurnishing and.
Well, you have service for 12, there's probably 12 of us who could claim a dish.
One dish. I thought of it, we could have done that, that would have been cute. But,
And we
actually,
learned
I was the oldest, and we were the first ones married. We beat Dave and Gertrude by 6 weeks. And Shimon gave us the dishes, and they were still packed. Now, this was in 1933.
They was so
Wait.
Right, and she had packed them
I'm a slow one.
before she passed away.
Yeah, she
That
was
part-
packing them, I remember that.
Why was she just packing them because you were moving? Oh,
We were
moving.
moving, yeah, the next week or so, we were all getting ready to move into a.
So she died before you moved?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when she caught a cold, I guess.
So what, they're all
Your
white
shirt-
dishes with a
And
tiny
your shirt's
little
not
border.
1929.
Do you see
No,
candy?
Tiny little,
I have which
It was exact, not even quite.
If you
You were
only,
at
you know, or you
Ben-
want to break up
you
a
were at
set,
Crane
or
or
something
Marshall?
like
No,
that.
that wasn't
See, I
either
have
place.
the,
19,
I thought it'd be nice if
Marshall.
everybody got a
No.
plate or
Marshall.
something, or
Marshall.
a cup and saucer. I just took them from my mom's house. My mom had them in the
I know.
house, up this now.
1929.
When did my father
Holly
come
was here.
to
Holly
Chicago
brought
with
them
me?
back.
You know,
Holly
okay,
took
and he
my
went
car,
Philadelphia, that
which I sold her.
You had the set, she didn't have the set all these years at your house? You never gave them her?
It was
I always
pretty
used them.
What?
They were my good
Pretty close
friends.
to
They were
the
my
time that
good
we
to the
got
China.
that.
Thought they told you one story.
I assume.
I had stories
He
like
was
that
only
too.
2 years, he
I
was
was
a
at
couple
the
years
beginning.
ago.
Scott, I had the whole table.
And I had one story, and they said, no,
Mari
it's
got a couple
absolutely wrong, it's not the
Just
way.
zoom, just zoom back, let it run.
I assume that they, so did they
Yeah,
come?
but you can't see everybody.
I
They must have.
Very close, because they lived right there.
No, they must have, You know why? Because my mother-in-law was so attached to,
Their mother, right. She wouldn't have,
she wouldn't move a
What?
step
she
without
wouldn't have stayed in
How much older
Philadelphia
was my dad than you?
than him.
two and a half
years.
years.
So he was born in 1908.
Dave, huh?
And he,
Dave and he,
when did you remember seeing my dad the first, growing up in Chicago?
What is
Well, they
that?
all lived together, we lived around the.
they had done great,
They
they
were
were
very
close.
They were
As a
very
matter of
close.
fact,
Neil.
Aunt Kate and the family lived a couple doors away on Oak Street.
So they were very close as kids.
All of us were on the west side, the 24th ward. Everybody had to walk around.
Can I ask a question? What is it, why is this now? I mean, what is this?
Everybody wants to know
You want
that.
sugar?
Why are we,
Michael is the guy that's asking.
I started it because I didn't know how
This
many,
is not, this is equal.
I didn't know who
Now,
my
this is
great
all right.
grandfather was.
It's interesting.
He told me who my great grandfather
I
was.
know, but Dad was little when they came because she wouldn't move a step
I have it on the
without
email
the
focus.
high school.
Oh, that's why.
Well, they probably were 2, 3 years old, because he was only.
Where did I get the
You
story?
made it up.
I did not make up the
You always
story.
made up
The
stories.
audio is on the video.
You always made up
No, we
stories.
probably were thinking that the truck we had and that he was driving now.
Listen, I had a story that I was telling my friends.
Yes.
My aunt, I had an aunt.
Then all three of the boys were born in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
And then remind me to send it coming.
Nancy, yeah.
The only story she died
When she died before the move.
Well, let's move everybody. Yeah, or see if you can move the two of them, right? Yeah, put Lynn and,
So he was born in 1904.
how do you get it on autofocus?
It's on. Autofocus. Turn it back on, you push
I
it.
was born in 1904.
Listen, all these things are not such a treat to me, because I tell you what, everybody that comes to the store from the west side, we have to hear this over and over and over again about the west side. He doesn't remember that you're supposed to come on Friday, and he tells you Sunday.
That's what it should have been, because it would have been much easier for
Tell me
me
you're busy Sunday.
during the day.
For brunch.
Benny, wait a second.
We
When,
can start all over, but you want to look.
how long was the family?
Let me just hold things.
I think it,
Well, I think 6
I got it.
years.
When I called her,
My brother, I don't know if my brother, I was born,
I know she was pregnant on the trip to Philadelphia. He was born in Philadelphia. That was her certificate.
On the trip to Philadelphia from where?
They lived from
Europe.
1904, at least till
They were married in Europe.
1900.
Michael,
But we have cousins in Philadelphia.
have Michael move those right away.
Yeah, last I heard.
Man, don't even.
And I also heard, which you did not know, which I swear to you, my father told me, that there was another baby before or after my parents.
Dan never told the story.
Did you get that?
right.
Did you get that?
I can't, no, I can't get it. They're gonna have to move over.
I was either
I heard that too.
When he was 16?
there was a baby, there was a stillborn baby.
Let's get everybody in here.
Late was not my
What did you do
mother.
with my glasses?
What?
Mom,
Labe was your grandmother.
my glasses?
Oh, grandmother, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Leba was the grandmother.
Yeah, Chaim Lay, that was for the grandfather and the grandmother, Chaim Lay Family Club. And it
It was
just
a
happens,
family
that's his
club.
Jewish name, which has nothing to do with the king. Larry's, he's named after my father and his mother.
Yeah.
I dropped a whole stack of
This is
purple
right.
books on my neck.
Now, there were 9 in grandma's family, so.
All right, now just a second.
Grandma
What is this over
had
here?
Anna, her sister Anna, and Heis, and your mother. What was your mother's name?
Ida.
Hi.
Your mother was Ida? Kaya. Kaya, that's Kaya and Anna and Harry Borstein.
Oh, you remember those, yeah.
No, now, here.
There, oh, wait a minute.
Wait,
a minute.
Marla
That was-
somehow traced down
wait.
that Ida Burstein, that their mother and father,
Larry,
wait, Ida and Kate's mother and father had 9
I made
kids.
that in 80,
So what,
480.
Not that we
Just a
knew,
minute.
we only knew
How
about
did
those.
you get
Michael,
9 when it was
Michael.
8?
We're 9. You know who had 9 kids? The Kings. Not the Borsteins, the Kings.
What cake?
No, that according to this one.
Well, there was my father.
Oh, yeah,
This is what I had.
Hey,
They had 6 men and 2 women. I know that backwards and
This
forwards.
I
And
This I
wait a minute. And
Wait.
Kai's
Why don't I have that?
first
Oh, this is,
husband was Kai's
it's a different
maiden
family,
name.
it's Larry,
And
yeah.
Tommy Burstein, it was the
This is,
father.
this is your grandfather and grandmother, right?
get some.
Ida and
Michael.
What? What father? What brother?
Edith Burstein's
Yeah,
father.
Edith and what was his,
Kai.
what was her brother's name?
Jack.
Yeah, Jack, right.
Wait,
Jack.
you're,
Jack.
That was her brother.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
This
That
is
was
your
the
cousin.
highest brother.
Shimon and Ida,
But
That was Edith's father.
and Kate,
No, 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 no.
Edith's
Yanko
father
was
and
not Jack.
no,
Yanko was a brother.
sisters. Now,
Yanko
why
and
does this
Edith
say
were the
that they were the
brother.
father?
Yeah.
Of whom?
That,
first.
Who's on
I
first?
wonder where Marla got that the grandfather.
Harry was
Ida,
in there. Harry was the
And
brother.
you know who takes
Harry
Harry?
was the brother of,
Father
of your
and
mother.
Harry
Harry Bernstein, right,
and
that's
Don.
it, yeah.
It was
Oh,
Harry.
nine.
Both got the
Oh,
short.
9, the number.
Jack
We
and,
don't know who they
Kate.
were.
And
We don't know, that's where
Kai.
she stopped. So
And
there's
Anna Weinstein.
father of
And
Nine, number.
Carol is named for
Oh,
Carol
Leon.
Leon, for
Leon.
Leon in South America.
right,
Oh, and for your, and
Argentina.
for his mother.
Argentina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
That was
what, we
another
missed
brother.
something.
in South America.
We missed something.
We just found,
Why did you
we
just-
found another relative.
His mother had a brother who was in, lived and their whole family in South America.
They migrated to South
Wait a minute, also, how about the one in
Grandma,
Canada?
Michael,
That was
voice
a cousin.
I'll tell you
Every
all
time you
about
open your
that,
mouth.
too.
That was
Here,
a cousin.
another thing.
That was not a
How come you didn't tell me that?
Kai and I, when we were,
No.
so I hear, Ben and I, when we were on our trip to South America, tried to find the Burstein family.
Yeah, but wait a minute, you and I had friendship with the people in Canada.
That's the
That's
Lyons
That's something
family.
else.
Yeah, so you looked him up in
We
South
couldn't
America.
find them at
Oh.
all. Couldn't find any,
Who's the Lyons?
any
So
trace
that's
of the
not much of a
family.
story.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Where in South America?
Monasteries.
Wait,
Bernstein
Grandma,
or
Argentina.
Kate,
Bursting,
Ida.
B-U-R-S-T-E-E-N.
Yeah, right.
All right, Kate and Ida had how many other brothers and sisters? Is that who you're talking about? Somebody went to?
Kate and Ida.
Ada and Ida and
Weinstein.
Anna and Harry and Leon in South America.
There was
was that
five of
kissing?
the family that we
That's
know
the Kane side. And
The
That's the
Burstein.
Burstein family.
she said, and Chrissy.
Leah?
Chrissy was from
There was,
Leon.
who was,
Leon.
Leah?
Yeah.
Your great grandfather.
Uncle.
Your grandfather's. Your
My
father.
grandmother's uncle. My grandmother's brother.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Was-
who Carol is named after.
Who?
Leon.
Leon. After Hi's mother, Benny's mother, and her name is Carol Leon. And
That's a
she's
nice
named
name.
for Chaya, and for Leon in
Wait, so there's Kate and Ida and who else?
Anna Weinstein from
I'm
Philadelphia.
getting confused.
Harry
Weinstein's the married
Burstein
name?
and
Weinstein's the
Leon
married name.
is the
Yeah.
Bursteins.
Wait, there's a Harry too.
Harry Bernstein.
Harry
So
Bernstein.
there were
That
two
was my,
boys.
that was my mother's brother.
And Edith.
Harry and Leon.
And Harry and
She
your
sang
mother
beautifully.
didn't talk.
Yeah.
For what reason, Betty?
the-
Why were they mad? If they were mad, they didn't
Well,
talk.
when they came to Chicago, my mother loaned them money to go
Oh,
into
yeah, that's
business.
right. And
They
he
opened
never
up a-
paid him
right.
back.
They stopped
So what
talking
else
to her,
is
you
there?
remember that? Yeah. They opened up a grocery store and they,
That's it, they just figured,
if she went
goodbye.
over to
See, the
visit,
thing
actually, I
that's
mean, if she
weird
took some
is
merchandise,
because
she had to
we're-
pay for it.
Michael.
Yeah, that, I remember that too. We lived on Gretchen Street then.
And they didn't talk.
Who did they lend money to?
To the brother.
Hi's, Hyatt, their mother, was the queen bee of the family.
Yeah,
She was the one
That
that
called the shots.
That called all the shots. She was intelligent and intellect and would have nothing to do with the kings, only with
Her sister. With Gittel and
with
Mark.
Gittel and
Max.
Max, and with and that was foursome would be, but she would have nothing to do
All right,
with the
where
kings.
did, who got married first, Gittel and Max or Ida and
I think
Your
they
father and mother got married?
No, they were, yeah.
married maybe first, but,
They were married in Europe, I'm sure.
They were.
but Gittel was.
She was younger, yeah. She
Yeah,
was
but
much
she would, anything that Heidi.
No, sure, it's
she
like
did.
my mother's younger
She
sister.
was like her mother to her.
Like Muriel is to
Yeah.
my wife.
And the interesting thing
My
was
wife.
every year at
forgot
her
her.
mother's, at her mother's yurt site, your wife. I know whose wife I am. We forgot.
You have to be married another 54 years.
If it wasn't funny, it would be sad.
No, in defense of him, he always refers to you as my wife. He never says, don't you always say my wife?
Yeah, sure, what else?
Do you know where your mother and father met? And how they
In
called it?
Russia, my father was from Kiev, Russia. My mother was from Pyrasalov. Pyrasalov.
How did they meet?
Well, there were two
I
cities
think
pretty
they
close
met
to
on the
one another.
boat, Betty, don't you know?
No. I'll tell you what Kate told me.
What?
Kate was wild, you know, she was flirtatious, and my Max was
She-
very sedate.
Well,
You heard what?
Kate told me that she got pregnant with my dad before they got married.
Well, so what's new?
Yeah, well,
Fix this, will you?
You know what? She was ahead of her time.
No, she was, the family trusted Max with Kate. Because your dad the families must have known each other because your dad and.
Wait, they were brothers.
yeah, I think so,
Don't
sure.
forget they
They
were
were close
brothers.
together.
Well, that's right, they got.
And they were the only two in the family, too,
that
that
would
kind
be
of stuck
funny, yeah.
together more than with the
Yeah,
others.
the others came.
Shimon used
the
to
others
see, you
came
don't know,
later.
he used to come to the house every Friday night.
Your dad.
Yeah. The
So
others,
they got married, your dad and mom got married in Europe.
yeah, I'm sure they did.
Did they ever talk about how they met or anything like that?
Who talked about
Lucky
anything?
they had room.
You were lucky when they said, hey, you Kimanesu.
Yeah, that's right. But Max and Gitzel got married here then.
Yes.
Evidently,
Yeah.
I think they got married in
Hopefully.
I think it's in Philadelphia, yeah.
Philadelphia, the kids are.
Listen, I wonder what that makes Michael.
Edith Edith and
You better make some
Maury.
erasures there, Michael. The heritage is not
I
that
know.
great on your
I know.
side.
Edith and Maury were born in Philadelphia too.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, was Edith born there?
Yes, Philadelphia.
I don't know.
Is Edith
Sure
the same
was.
age as you?
Edith
Was
was-
Edith?
Edith is my age.
So he's a little bit younger, around his age.
Is there
Yeah,
any
she's
family
the
left in
same age.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, because Edith was
I
7
don't
years older
think,
than I.
because Anna
What
was,
about the people
I
from the
think Anna
detective
was
agency?
older than the other two sisters, and she was an old woman when we met her.
When Scott was about
You know who this is?
10 or 12, and Larry stayed in the store, we went east, and we went to see, we were going to see them. I think that was the year that we had that.
Car broke down.
We saw it, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And
So there is
we knew,
family in
yeah, well, that's
New Buick, yeah. It's
20,
20,000.
20 years ago.
1957.
57.
57 Buick.
So that's what,
From
32
Philadelphia.
years ago?
That was also the year of the delicatessen in Boston.
in Atlanta.
Yeah, right. So wait a minute, I don't know if you remember this, but we had the address. And so when we got near wherever we were supposed to go, we called up. And they said, take this, do that, get on the highway, on the, what do you call it? What do you call that in the
Turnpike.
freeway?
Turnpike.
Turnpike.
Yeah.
Get on the turnpike, and when you get to this, do that and that. Well, we went on the turnpike and we kept looking for whatever it was. We stopped and called again. And they said, well, you're not probably far enough, blah, 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 go another one. Well, about 3 phone calls later and 2 o'clock in the morning, we were on the wrong Turnpike.
Oh,
And nobody thought, they kept
so you
getting.
never saw them?
Yes.
Yeah,
you remember
We got there about
2
2
o'clock in the morning.
Saw Anna then?
Who do we see, Ben?
Not Anna, she had 2 daughters.
Daughters, that's who we saw.
What's her name? Edith?
Sylvia or Edith?
Edith, there wasn't Edith.
Yeah, Edith was the older one.
But that's
When
what
was the last time you ever saw any part of their family?
33 years?
Yeah,
My
It was
grandmother.
57 years.
But a first
wasn't
cousin.
Babe,
that's,
it? Is it a first cousin?
yes.
do you
No.
remember
It
when we
was my
saw the
mother's-
family
Mother was the
in
first.
We have movies of that.
Atlantic,
We have movies of that.
in
Of
Atlantic
Aunt
City?
Kate's sister in Atlantic City.
Right.
With Daddy and,
Yeah.
You and
it must
I.
be.
yeah.
Were there, we went to Atlantic City
They
because
came
that's
and
where they
visited
were
us.
staying
They
for the
stayed
summer.
with us.
And then I kept corresponding with one of the cousins that for a while there, and then we lost track.
In Philadelphia,
Benny, what's her name?
or,
Edith something else, not Bernstein. She was married.
Weinstein.
Oh, Weinstein.
She was married, she's the one from Philadelphia.
Is that the one that
And she was a
somebody had something to do with a
policewoman or
detective?
something, or
Yes.
a detective or
They had,
something.
yeah, you're right, they had an agency. of,
We met them, they came to Chicago.
Yes, they
Yes,
came
they
to
did.
Chicago, and then we
think so, too.
went to Atlantic City. to
I
see
remember them coming to Chicago, we lived in.
Something. It's a suburban home.
Because I opened the window, then it had a screen.
South America, that's.
She's afraid of it.
Catch it. Yeah, we're in.
It's right over here.
Nobody knows.
Selma,
Nobody
you don't
knows.
know about a relative in South
There
America.
it is.
There he is, get it.
About what?
About her family. I never got that far. I had always wanted to. And never gotten there. Most of this information was written in my baby book, I think, by Dad.
Well, you know,
Well, but you must
actually,
have asked Dad.
actually, they really separated themselves from the Bursteins and from the one in Philadelphia. Bursteins really flat separated
Yeah,
because if Harry, whatever his name was angry at Kaya, that means meant my
No,
mother-in-law had to be bad.
She wasn't, they weren't mad at each other at that time, they just stayed there, they stayed,
And this
they
is all
came from
because they
Philadelphia a
lent
long
money
time.
and they didn't repay it, is that?
Oh, well, this was
All
in
started
Chicago,
there?
but I'm talking, they were in Philadelphia a longer
Well, yeah, but they were
time
all together.
than we were in Chicago. But then eventually they came to Chicago. When they came to Chicago, he wanted to go into business, so my mother and dad.
So is that when the split occurred?
Yeah.
Okay, but I got a question. I want
Otherwise,
you,
you said they were always,
you've been in Chicago since you've been very young.
yeah,
Okay, and your brother, Hi, and Dave were here at the same time?
yeah.
Okay, when they came from Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
what happened then?
What do you want me-
You're here,
His father.
you're here. Your father came here and you were
What'd
here.
your father do there?
Where did you start in Chicago?
When we came to Chicago, we lived in back,
He had a shoe
the back
shop.
the shoe store
Yeah.
on St. Louis and Harrison.
Harrison,
He
right.
bought that piece of property there, and that's
And
where the
then
shoe
after
store.
that, he
Then
bought
just
the gas
when he
station.
got settled, he bought a home at 3606 Crenshaw Street.
Do we all have baby shoes that were made by him? My first pair of shoes were made by Grandpa.
That I don't know.
I
Couldn't-
don't know.
Yeah, but no, he wasn't a
He had
shoemaker.
a shoe.
But he
Okay, but
Yeah.
no, but he
He
didn't.
wasn't a shoemaker.
Where did your dad learn to be a shoemaker?
Oh,
In
yeah.
Europe?
Yeah, right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Where in Europe?
Wear
Almost
your pair
possible,
of white
yes.
shoes.
Did they live in England
First
at all?
white shoes
No.
were made by him.
No, I'm almost sure that he.
All right, so they brought the gas station after the shoe store?
Well, they took the two pieces of property, this goes back to 1927, 28. They took the home that we lived in at 3606 Crenshaw, and his piece of property down Harrison Street was a store, a shoe store.
Okay, now, was he a shoemaker or just a shoe sales?
No, shoemaker.
Who sold
And
shoes?
that was the time he got, at that time, he got hit on the head from the colored guy that used to shine shoes over there. They got in an argument or something.
Yeah, right.
And the guy hit him over the head for
That's right.
you remember that, right?
Right, I
And,
heard that story.
Yeah, and then we wanted him to get out of the shoe business, so my brother Dave, I
Too rough, huh?
convinced him to buy a gas station.
No,
Huh?
that was your mother's idea. In order to keep
Well,
Dave,
Dave-
just a minute.
Yeah, right.
In order to keep Dave from going,
Yeah,
you know where.
right, yeah.
Where's you know
Where's you know where?
Where's you know
Dave was a tough proposition. He was
Because
pretty,
Dave was,
he was a smart
Wait a
guy.
he
second.
was a real,
He
Yeah.
was a real conniver.
he
Yeah.
was a real,
Didn't he jump bail in a
Jewish-
couple of states?
Sure.
or something?
That was in Florida. He was stripping cars out there and caught up with them.
that's what I
And
said.
my mother went there to get it.
And wouldn't you know that she would have been his
She
favorite?
put up, I think, $2,000 bail or something. They skipped the bail and came back to Chicago. But
David
if
was-
he ever went back to
And
Florida,
then she
they,
pulled
Was he
out.
connected with the mafia at the time, do you know?
Well,
There was a Jewish mafia.
No, he was
he was on his
Yeah.
own.
wait a minute, he was,
He probably wouldn't trust the mafia.
you know the guy that
wouldn't trust
killed,
the mafia.
Right.
wait a minute, what,
Jack
the
Ruby.
Ruby, Jack
Oh,
Ruby,
Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
hung out on Roosevelt Road
Well,
with all that, those,
There
wasn't Jewish mafia.
I saw his brother.
I don't know if it was mafia.
I saw his
or
brother
what.
also.
Well, that, you know that Jack Ruby was
Jack Ruby.
Sally.
Yeah.
Jack Ruby was the bag man for the Teamsters Union.
Yeah.
That I know for
Yeah,
real.
but they all hung out on Roosevelt Road there by
And Davy
Yeah.
Miller's.
Yeah.
And Davy Miller's.
and yeah,
No, that was further.
they called him the
This was
Davy
closer.
Miller Gang.
That's
The what?
Davy Miller.
Davy
All
Miller.
right, so Dave, so you bought the gas, they bought the gas station to keep Dave out of jail?
That's right.
Okay.
And she pulled, and she pulled
Out of the big
High
house.
out of University of Michigan.
Yeah, right.
After
yeah.
2.5 years.
Oh, wait a
And
minute, I
put
thought that
him-
was because Uncle Dave stole the cash register.
No, that was after. That was when they were selling the store.
Oh, he was,
He
What cash
was
register, what
a
store?
real,
at the garage, at the gas station.
Do you know that?
I don't understand why buying the garage would have kept Dave.
wanted to should be
Dave
to
was a
put him
mechanic.
into the. And
Dave was a mechanic and he
He
always
always
liked
was getting in
automobiles.
trouble.
and he
was getting in
always knew
trouble.
what to do with
So she
cars.
wanted
Yeah.
to give him a job, and so they bought only a piece of property in a gas station.
Okay, I wanna go
Yeah,
back,
right.
I wanna go back one step to the shoemaker.
Little child
Your
itis.
parents came directly
that?
from Russia to Philadelphia?
Yeah.
You're quite
That's what he
certain
said.
that they didn't go through England at all?
Oh, that I don't know. I mean, that was, the
If
only,
they did, it would have been just a
up to
stopover.
Philadelphia is
Because I was
where.
Like my family did. We came from Russia.
She
and
was
we
born in
stopped-
Russia.
Yeah, and they stopped in England for another, changed boats.
But the reason I asked that is when we were in London in the spring, we took a tour of the East End, and there were two organizations. One was training every Jew that came through to be tailors, and another organization was training everyone to be shoemakers.
That's when my grandfather learned to become a shoemaker, because
Yeah,
they
where
lived in
everybody, yeah,
England.
probably. What else could they do?
Well,
They-
that I don't
That was the
There
point.
was
I mean, why
no
was-
That's why we were one.
I'm sure they went to Ellis Island. Those
Yeah.
years.
But I'm saying that.
Chimney.
No, because, wait a second, excuse me. There was a drop in Philadelphia.
That's right.
There was a drop in Philadelphia. That's why I keep asking you whether they got off the boat in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
never
well,
in Ellis
evidently,
Island.
that's probably where they all settled it.
Everybody that came had to go through Ellis.
No, I was just there. I was just there.
They could come
But
through
either New
Philadelphia.
York,
Houston.
either,
Your family came through Baltimore.
either New York or Ellis Island. I think.
No.
New
No.
York and Ellis Island was the same
Yeah,
port.
right,
But
or
they could have come
Philadelphia.
in through
Philadelphia.
the.
After that, evidently, they all start coming in. I don't know if they were helping.
All
or
right,
something.
well, all right, well, let's jump ahead here for a second. So the garage, you got the garage. This is when?
1920.
We bought the garage in 1928.
Then did it keep Dave out of jail?
Well, to
Well,
Something
to
to
give
do.
him,
Did it keep him in trouble? Oh, he never went to jail.
No, he wasn't, he never, he used to
Never
be a
got caught.
gambler, most of the time, especially when I was at the gas station, he used to be on Roosevelt Road in the pool room playing cards.
yeah, it's
I mean, that was his hobby,
David
actually,
Miller.
he'd gamble a lot.
You know what he did once?
No, that-
It just,
Okay.
I just wanted, Dennis told this story. Their garage and gas station butted up right along the CTA, the
Yeah,
Elks track.
yeah,
And he switched
Yeah.
for half of the month. He would use their electricity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right,
How to-
Edison Company, in
But
other
he
words,
was
he
Then he
so
was
sharp.
so smart.
yeah,
He
he
was
jumped
very,
the money
very.
cause.
Yeah,
so
But
smart.
he
Wasn't safe for
he was brilliant.
Yeah.
But he just
And then
always
mechanically
Channeled
inclined.
it correctly.
Yeah.
Listen, I remember the time on Greenwich Street of, down the basement actually, that he used to tell me to step in a tub of water, and he had a generator. I get a shock.
Oh, he was, you can't,
Those things.
He lives alone.
Big brothers
It's
do.
hereditary.
Yeah, but he told me to step in it.
wanna
like
know
this.
this.
Yeah, well, sure, he told me to step
And
in it.
later
I was a kid, I was, but
I just like Deborah made Edward.
he was only 2 years older.
A wild one.
But he was,
But he was smart. During the war years, he had that plant that made,
yeah, that's Norton Engineering.
He was-
Norton Engineering.
He was smarter than a dying tool man, actually. He used to tell them what, that
he
they're
was
doing it wrong.
really,
And he never had any education.
Well,
He only-
Wiley.
He only went to 8th grade. That's the size
When
he
we
got.
went to, when we had the barbecue, there was way before air conditioning. Way before.
Oh, yeah, that's another.
And he had, but I want to tell you, he had the idea, it was real hard. He went up there and he would connected hose, right?
Yeah,
Ben? Hose.
running water.
Running
Over
water
the-
to,
over
on the roof and a fan. In
during
other
the
words, the
daytime.
principle that later became
It cooled
air
off.
conditioning. To help.
Didn't have air, it was so hot the inside.
Although he was
because
not above
We
to,
had.
you know what he did to my mother? Right?
Yeah.
My mother, we sold the delicatessen, and my mother was looking to invest her money. So he, yeah. So he said she could run a.
He convinced anybody.
Yeah, he could.
That's the type of
He
guy.
taught. Well, she asked for it. I mean, she asked to go into some kind of business where she wouldn't have to just invest some money. So he got her into a partnership with him. Wait a minute. In
My dad did too.
parking lot.
Downtown.
Downtown. That was great, and they did business. But the parking lot was leased on 3 leases. And Dave and she had the lease on this one and on this one, but not on the middle one. So she had to get out of it. She lost money on it. Yeah, really. But he,
She didn't lose money,
Did you
she
buy
lost
all
money
wells for
because
Benny?
he didn't give her what she was entitled to.
I almost, no, he
Because
went to,
my
he went
dad
to
bought
Texas.
oil wells in Texas.
With
Oh,
To the tune of $10,000.
I don't think he'd have anything to do with it.
What?
because
he
he's
did. This is way
yes.
before then. He did, yeah.
Yes, dear. And in fact,
When did
At
it
at one
start
point,
catching on?
I went
You
into
didn't
a
hear about it.
park.
You didn't tell. Who did it?
In
Nobody ever-
Green
This is
Street,
your own
and they
property.
opened up a
Trust
second,
him and,
Where,
forgive
Texas?
him and
furnishing
you.
place. And that was when when I
you know,
told
he
him to go,
was so-
you know where?
he
In
was
Texas,
the
you
favorite
talking
of the
No, right
Oh,
on Green
yeah.
Street.
And
Yeah,
my
right.
mother-in-law.
I remember that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I asked me what he should do. I said, look, I said, break away from him. He wanted everything.
That's when we bought out
That's
North American Screw Products and went out for ourselves.
Oh, what about Texas, though? I mean, what are you
what
talking
about
about?
That was before that. That was before.
That's
No, that was
before.
wait a minute,
Yeah, I
wait a minute, wait a minute, that came afterwards because,
Well,
that was when he first went down to Texas.
Are his kids anything like
And he talked Hy into going down. I don't remember how many thousand.
Is that after Hy got out of there, out of Green Street?
Right.
See, I didn't know about that.
We went,
And Alan
we
was
left
a little
him,
sleepy
we had a
besides,
big
isn't he?
fight
Ask her about
with
Alan.
Dave at that time. And we moved out and we bought the North American Screw Product.
Yeah.
And we had to go to the bank to borrow money to pay him.
Yeah, I remember a time when we had the garage and gas station. I had Dave. I thought he'd never get up. Really did.
I had that,
Yeah, he
They were
had,
good
he
friends.
had so hard. I didn't
Wonderful
know.
talent.
There was some argument there for some purpose, and Dave
How old
did
were you?
something that he didn't like. And
Now,
so
now, when did Dave go to Texas?
That was after World War II.
Yeah,
Right, that was.
maybe 1947, 46 or
And
47.
he's a smart guy, but I heard that he was drilling
Scott and
almost in San Antonio, almost in the city, the center of the city, where he wasn't supposed to be, and he was drilling over
Yeah,
there.
that's more like.
And finally, they clamped down on him. He had all his rigs and everything else, all his equipment, and he couldn't get the first
I
base.
heard he had an underground fire or something and all the oil burned
No,
up.
he was, when he
And
first,
you know what else he invented, you know what else he and
Oh, yeah.
Scott?
That they had an underground fire and that all the oil burned in the ground.
I didn't hear that.
He has a story he told you. You know what else he had years ago?
Irrigation.
Irrigation. And you ride through places now and you see it. He had, that they wrote, he just never channeled what he knew was the right direction. Because he wouldn't hire
A
somebody.
water spray that would go all the way across the field. This spray would go all the way across, actually, and he decided, those years, the farmers used to move these
Huh?
irritating, irrigation.
Which is like 10 today, you know, like 20 today.
But he decided to put a motor on it, and that's what he did. And, but he didn't use his own money, he was trying to use somebody else's money. And for some reason, it didn't work out for him.
He was very, very bright, but he was always crafty, right? Years ago, Florence said he's always sitting on the top of the fence, right side and the
He
wrong
wouldn't
side.
continue
yeah.
it,
Dave?
he wouldn't keep it up there.
When you bought this, when your mother decided to buy this gas station,
Yeah.
to set things straight for Dave, did everybody catch on to that? I mean,
Oh, yeah, it was for all of us.
That
It
was-
wasn't just for Dave, it was
that
for the
was-
free, what wasn't the point?
That was, what's
18.
unusual about
Yeah,
that?
17, 18 years
18.
old.
well, how do you know about that?
Well, because
From the
I
story.
was,
She
no,
was
wait a
around.
minute, I was, met Maury then, and
She's
she,
married before we were, around
and
before
your
you
mother
even.
was, yeah, she was still
32.
living. when I
Were
met
you married 31 or 32?
1928.
So all of a sudden, your mother says she sells the shoe business, right?
You wanna know
they
something?
were
The
out
two
of
pieces of property.
You wanna know something?
What 2 pieces of property?
She
The
was.
shoe store and the gas station.
was dead.
Three flat.
We had a house
She
at,
was
at 35,
She
30
was-
Polk Street. It was
all the
a 2-flat
manipulations
house,
and everything.
and the store that he owned,
The shoe store.
the shoe store. And those 2 pieces of property he put down on his collateral for his property on Harrison and Independence. Harrison
And they were gonna buy
Central Park.
the the garage.
Well, that's what they did.
Benny,
At Harrison and Central Park.
Benny, what happened to the money that the elevated gave you for buying the
Yeah,
property?
well, that, we had to cut the property down.
Yeah.
We never got any money.
And it also,
What about the story that I heard where my dad came home from school, from Michigan,
let me move.
and, no, but I mean, to help run something, to make money,
The
to-
gas
and
station.
managed to keep you in school.
Was that during the war?
And we were
No,
29,
no.
we went up to Ashland, Wisconsin, and then transferred to Notre Dame.
No, the other way around.
No, yeah, yes, the other way
Notre
around.
Dame first.
And let me tell you
When you were at
something.
Notre
When I
Dame,
went to school, I couldn't get $5 either out of High or Dave or
They
my
didn't
dad
have
or
it.
anybody.
They
I
who
couldn't get-
had it?
Huh? They
Who
did,
had
right.
No,
Well,
I had heard
they
that, I
had
had
the
heard that
garage.
Dave sold the garage, took the cash register while you and my dad were both in school, and my dad came home and tried to
Well, you know where I
make things
think that
right.
was? You know where I think that was? The Central Park in Fillmore. We traded our property in
Right.
for this other garage
It was a big
that,
piece of
where they had a body repair shop.
exactly,
The Smith
Yeah,
and
Harrison
Purite,
and-
Smith and Purite.
right.
And then, but they came back to the corner. But that was the time they had the garage and we traded, I think with some cash.
Yeah.
And evidently, that's the time probably Dave helped himself with something, I don't know.
But I wanted to go on record.
brains of the
Wait a minute, I
family.
wanted to go on record that
Was
their
the
mother was very, very bright.
Was the brains
Yeah.
of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She called
She would
all the
negotiate all these
shots.
things,
She
yeah.
made all the decisions, and Shimon, who was a real doll of a man, just quiet guy, just felt, followed.
Yeah, but
she was,
if she died in 1928,
Yeah.
Ida, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Hi.
then it seems that this is later than that.
No, that's when she
That's
died,
what I
right
was-
in the process of, right after they bought the gas station.
We had everything packed
That's
up
what I was-
to move into a bigger apartment.
Because that property was part of the deal.
Yeah. We had to get
How old was she when she died?
in her
45, I
40s,
think,
something,
45.
49,
45
I
or
think,
46.
And she was the smart one,
Real,
smarter than,
yeah, she,
Wow.
oh,
And Aunt Kate
Aunt Kate was
Aunt
the
Kate
younger sister.
followed her.
Yeah.
She looked up to her like she would tell her what to do.
Well, and
Even
Kate
I
wasn't.
Was not
No,
an
she
aggressive young woman, no, she
No,
wasn't.
but
How much difference in age was there? That's what I can't
there
figure out.
was,
Would you know?
I don't know, but she was,
Couldn't be
What?
much, I
A
don't
couple,
think, huh?
not too much.
Yeah, 2, 3
Oh, no,
years.
there was quite a bit.
Was there? And Kate was a lot younger?
Oh,
I was
sure.
at least 5 or
You
6
think
years,
so? Yeah.
maybe
but
8
that
years.
wasn't unusual because there was others. in
Oh, there were
between.
others in between, perhaps.
Yeah.
But you know what she would do?
I think
every
Heather
year,
and
Who?
Gil
Every
was the
year
baby of the family.
every year at the yard site, she would dress herself up in everything that I
Kate,
It was every yard
Her
site.
Mother.
She put
Because they were
on
the two sisters.
Georgette blouse.
Yeah, she was very, very.
Very Georgette blouse, the dress, and she'd wear that the whole day long for years.
Have other people ever done anything like that, or is this just something?
No, I never
They
heard
were
of
close.
anybody doing that.
They
I
were.
never even heard that story.
How
Well,
many
she
years,
wouldn't know.
how many years difference was Kate?
She just said about 5.
I don't know, but she was.
I don't know either.
And we don't know anything about their family in Russia.
No.
Priyaslavas.
Yeah.
Where's
I know what,
Priyaslavas?
Vassar
Was
is
that
pretty
in
close to
Russia?
Kiev. Yeah, it's near Kiev, it's a little city near
The
Kiev.
cemetery is Priyaslavas Cemetery.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
And walk.
Right
And there was Bernstein, right?
Huh?
I pointed that way. isn't
That's the
it?
right way, okay, so.
No, this one.
No, that's,
It's
But I
this one.
think we're
This
further
way.
west even than,
now, Dad, what was your mother's maiden name?
Bernstein.
Bernstein or Burstein?
Not
Burstein.
Burstein.
B-U-R-S.
S-T-E-I-N, not M.
S-T-E-N.
Yeah,
This is the one who has relatives in.
Did you ever meet
South
Jack?
No.
No, I don't
You?
think that.
yeah.
But he
I
had,
did vaguely.
he had the
Thrift
store.
shop on Howard Street.
Jack and Edith were
Yeah,
the
they-
two kids.
Benny, isn't there,
She was
Benny
a
had
singer.
a thrift shop on,
Not a thrift, it's a salmon and.
oh,
and
oh,
Salmon
you're
and
talking about a
Locks,
different
not
one,
Jack.
no, that's on the west side, no.
No, that's, but.
Their cousin ran the thrift shop on Howard and Ashland, Howard and Bosworth, a few years back.
Yeah.
For
They used to
for
live-
volunteer
They used to
stuff.
live on McCormick, Jack lived on McCormick.
Jack Bernstein
There
was
in
who?
Vaughan.
Was,
Harry's-
Harry's cousin, Harry's son. Harry had
Harry
two children,
Harry
Edith
And
and Jack.
Jack.
Jason knew. Wasn't it Jason?
Jason knew.
Jason.
Now, here's the question. Steve Kane, our cousin who died,
Who died?
That was, Steve was
Stephen
Barney's son.
Barney's son. Scott is
Barney?
And Dave has a son, Steve, too.
Barney had a young son, Stephen,
Stephen Allen.
and he was about 2 years old when Barney died.
there's
And
one
over the
around.
years, Scott was very friendly. I don't know how it come about, but he would, for a couple of years, he would come over to our store every Saturday, right, Scott? And he and
Now,
Scott
that
was
was Pudgy's brother?
right.
Budgie.
Yeah, Budgie's brother, and you know he died. Do you know he
Now
died? about-
Budgie didn't
No, she
die.
knows.
Steve.
She knows I'm talking about Steve.
Yeah.
Steve
See, I
died
could never
about.
say Budgie, I used to call him Pudgy.
Budgie.
Steve
That was
was,
like my
birthday was in
brother.
May
He went to
also, and he
Delano.
was a year older than Scott.
How he
Did I
died?
tell you this
I
woman,
forgot how he died.
when my,
Well, he just
Just-
dropped dead.
Was sitting and
this
talking.
woman called me
Oh,
that they used to call you
5, 6 years,
Budgie.
no longer.
Oh,
about
longer,
7,
it's gotta be
8 years.
10 years ago.
Scott's age.
Yeah, about 8, I mean, we
Sitting
were in
and talking
Hawaii.
to
Scott's age.
Yeah,
A
we
year
were
older.
going to Hawaii then, so about 8, 9 years ago,
I
right?
don't know if they had an autopsy or not, but he just,
Unless he was on drugs. You know, I mean, not because of him, but I say that about anybody, that he was like 35 years old or something, that's all.
How long
And
ago was this?
about 9 or 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
I was
What
there.
was he doing? What was he doing?
I remember Steve.
What did he do?
Scott, do you know him? Well,
He
how
knew him
died?
very
Oh, no,
well.
how I died? No. I was surprised when it happened. I
So
wa-
you and Stephen are the same
And
age?
a year apart.
And he's older than
10 years.
Budgie?
Oh.
Budgie's
No,
older
Budgie's
than
old,
Budgie?
Budgie's the older brother.
And he was a year.
Steven's a year older than I, was a year older than
And
I.
his
Budgie
mother,
and I
He
went
was
to
in Maine
Delano.
also.
right?
Yeah, well, Budgie's your age.
Scott,
His age.
Scott,
What?
I remember you went to the funeral, you didn't know who it was?
What was it?
I think you, if I remember correctly, they lived on Bryn Mawr, someplace on Argyle or someplace like that. and I think you, put us together.
Quiet.
Because you were concerned about, he had really no, yeah, vote. I think you were concerned about the fact that he really didn't have any parents,
Well, he had a mother.
a mother, but he was alone, didn't have a father, and I think you just put us together. We were,
Got together, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, for a couple of years, he came over almost every Saturday. And,
You
yeah.
know who he looked like her family.
Stephen King, Budgies.
I have another question. Who's the woman that's husband
you were at
died
school,
and then
right?
she married the younger brother?
Not Dave's kid.
There's another
Another Stephen King, he was his cousin. He's-
Charlie's kid.
No, nobody in the Kings.
Unless it was in Russia. In Russia, it was pretty weird.
Unless it
Wait, did Stephen King always live at Argyle or Bryn Mawr in that area, always?
The younger brother.
Or did they move into that area and then that's how he became?
No, that area was nice when they lived there, was not bad when they lived there.
No, but what I meant was, why all of a sudden, when I was in high school, I think it was,
No, it was
younger than that, maybe.
Oh, sure, it was grammar
Yeah,
school.
we were at the,
We were in the middle store
yeah,
there.
the 16.
My sense,
Maybe
my
6,000 years old.
My mother's sister.
my sense was
That's more than 10 years ago that he died.
Connect him
I don't
with
know
the
how
rest
that
of the
happened,
family.
because the one branch of the family that I never was too friendly with Eleanor, never
Well,
really
but
did
she
friend.
was always trying
Maybe
to
she
connect
asked me not to
Stephen.
call him.
And I
Maybe
remember
she brought him
talking,
over.
I remember my sense of Stephen was like he always kind of wanted to be part
Well,
of.
Yeah,
didn't
he
have a
was
good
like a
childhood.
lost soul.
He didn't have, he was a,
And he spent a lot of time, I think, with Eleanor's family. Talk about that family.
oh, yeah.
Oh, boy, they were really something. One of them pushed the woman out of the
Window.
window.
But that is not, I don't want that to go on record of ours. I mean,
Yeah, that was Eleanor's family. That was the hotel.
listen, we got a lot of in-laws here, we don't want, you're a blood
Okay,
relative, but
you
we
have to
don't want
talk
the
about
in-laws.
Edith, for whom my Holly is named after, right?
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's
And
my
so
aunt.
is your Holly after my Edith?
Hi,
Yeah.
and Edith.
What's her name?
Hi,
What's her real name? Holly what?
Holly.
How old is Holly?
Ann.
Holly's 34.
Holly's
What, how old?
Holly's 34.
She'll be 34 in November.
34 in November.
And Edith died in 60.
No, 50-something Sally. We lived on Seward
Lori
Street.
died in 63.
Sure, Lori died. She,
Edith died
Edith Moore's
Lori
sister.
died a year, Edith died a year before.
in 56. Edith
Yeah,
died.
right.
Edith
Year before
died
I.
a year before.
Right, so that was
No, she did not.
53, so that was 52.
No,
Edith-
no, you're wrong.
The year after.
Edith,
I have a
I'm
vivid
getting-
memory of
Edith died.
Edith.
I died in 53, December 53,
And
because it's the same
And
as
Edith died. My, no,
And
Edith.
Aunt Kate,
You like to
my
meet him?
Aunt
I'd love
Kate,
to meet him,
her daughter.
because I don't think I know him.
So it's your first cousin?
Yeah.
Double first cousin.
Double first.
That's right, that's right, because Steve and I
Same
are
as Maury.
the same age.
Oh, wait.
And both of us don't have a memory of your father,
at Northwestern.
but we both remember how his mother felt about Hy. And I can remember real clearly, because I didn't know Hy or anything, and when Edith either was with us or we were talking about it, just, I remember her, I never saw an adult do this, run away, run into another room and start crying, because she was so upset.
She was my mother's idea when we were naming Holly, that it would be Hannah Etta.
Right.
It would be Hannah for my dad and Etta for Edith.
All right, I'm going home. I
We're going.
can't go home. I have no way of
We're gonna take him home.
all right,
It's 20 minutes to 11. We'll leave
all right, what, I did, all right, after the garage, you go to Notre Dame. You're there 1 year. 2 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Okay, then what?
Over 2 years.
He vulgared around. You know what vulgared
Yeah,
around
vulgared
means?
around is
He
right.
vulgared around.
Wisconsin at Northland College.
Yeah.
Do you know what vulgared around?
What does that mean?
I went to
Well, from pillar to post. It's the Jewish version of
And
pillar to post.
nobody
Where Evan gets it from?
and rough, you
Like Evan?
All right, so what happened? so go on.
How did you get to Northland College?
I was invited up there to play football with Maury Barron. And Maury Barron, I went to play football with him and Marshall. And he says, come on up there. He said, it won't cost you anything.
No, she said I saw
Because I didn't have any place to go.
And that's when you
This
were
is-
dating Minsa Goldberg.
Who?
Who?
I mean, there was a little babe that lived up there. No, I knew her, but I don't think.
Yes, you did.
And she lived up there?
Yeah, she lived on
I
Third
think I
Avenue.
got to know her, actually.
I never heard about that girl, there was lots of girls,
You
yeah.
must have mentioned that at that time, that
You said that little babe.
I probably told you to call her then.
could be, yeah.
Oh, you
because
gave
she
the phone
lived up
number?
there. Well, she's from there.
I'm from
I
Ashland.
know.
Yeah. So I went there, so
Hi, Benny, where did you really stay? Where did you stay?
When you came in from college,
when
where'd you
I
stay?
came in from Notre Dame, I had to go up north to, I slept with Damask. There was,
And Jackie
And
Mann?
Pissy, they lived north, they never lived
they
north.
lived north, they lived in Logan Square at the time. I had to travel.
North, I thought you Door County.
He really,
Dark County, they really, if you know the type, they wouldn't be allowed in Door County.
North is Highland Park.
Logan Square, from Roosevelt Road, that's north.
you had to have a passport to go to Highland Park. Who knew there was such a place?
You're right, that was
But
an
poor Benny,
expensive,
he
expensive
really
place.
had a few rough years.
Sure, it was rough. It's-
Well,
He tells me about the time
Wait,
when he was actually hungry.
Wait
He
a minute,
didn't
wait.
have money for food.
Well,
I mean, I was through the
Well, then,
impression,
What?
but
wait a
not
minute,
us.
just a
We
minute.
always
And
had a
when
register,
did
we always had a
when
register.
did
I heard some.
Hyde open up and you open up the store across the street?
Having to walk.
Plus,
Across from Marshall High School?
oh, yeah, that was,
That was when you went into that
I
business.
never did.
What business was that?
What business?
What
The
business?
hot
I was
dog
only there
business.
for one season, actually.
They
Okay,
had the,
but that's where they used to eat.
The students-
Before the barbecue?
Yeah,
long
the
before-
students
This was
said,
back in
across the street of Marshall.
1929 or 30.
when they had,
Yeah.
Did you or Hyde go to school with Cubs?
Neither,
No.
neither, I did.
I went, did you, where? In Harrison?
Northwestern, it was
Oh,
a taught
yeah,
out,
yeah.
and
But I
it was
played
the
football
fraternity
against
brother of
Cubs.
Hyde's.
And,
But he, what,
I
went-
played
actually went
football
to-
against him at
and what?
high school.
I didn't know there was a hot dog stand.
He went
You know there was a hot dog stand?
North
But
Carolina.
I want to hear about the hot dog stand.
it was not the hot dog stand, it was the
across
school
from Marshall High School.
No, it was students in, yeah, that's, we were only there for one season, actually, my brother Hy and I,
This is before you went to Notre Dame or after?
before. And I was coaching football with, at the same time.
Where were you
One
coaching?
season. Well, I helped after I got out of high school. I didn't go to college right away. So, 1929, that's, we bought that place and we stayed there one season, that was the end of it.
When did you go to Notre Dame?
So you were in Notre Dame from the fall of 1929.
No,
31.
1930, to the end of 31.
I got it.
To the end of 31?
I was there 2 years, and a little over 2 years. I stayed there.
Wait, fall of 30 to the end of,
To the end of
there's
30?
only a semester and 2.5, it's 3 semesters.
Wait, Rockney,
No, it was
Rockney was,
Killed in
Rockney
31.
died April 1st, 1931.
31.
31.
And I finished out the season.
That was that spring, or you played football the following
No,
fall?
I didn't, no, I couldn't play in the fall because I didn't have a chance.
I understand. So you finished the spring of 31.
Yeah, right.
You only played one season.
Well, wait a minute. If you finish this into the spring of 31,
Freshman and.
then you start.
Spring, and I finished off that,
So you started in the fall of 1929. The fall of 1929. Otherwise, how could you be there 2.5 years?
1929, no, yeah, it could be, I was there.
Yeah, he graduated high school in June of 29 and went to Notre Dame.
No, he
I
said
stayed
that.
out. I stayed out.
Now he may have graduated June of 28.
No, I always
I
thought he
did,
graduated at
no,
the same time
29.
I
He
did.
would have been 18 though. He would have been
2
18.
years older
No, but he would have been 18 though, not 19 when he graduated high school.
29, I think, didn't I?
No, if you graduated in the spring of '29, you would have been 19 in a few months, and that's not right. You should have been 18 in a few months. So you probably graduated in 28, in the spring of
I
28.
did graduate in 28.
And then you went to Notre Dame in the fall of '29.
Yes.
Now you tell me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I stayed out, I know I did. I stayed out.
So you stayed out for a year? You stayed out for a year?
And you were in Notre Dame from '29 through the spring of '31.
When he
which
was
is 2
killed.
The
years.
fall of
So wait,
29?
Yes.
When was Daddy at Michigan?
Daddy went to Michigan in 27, and then he was
Fall
pulled
of
out
29.
in 20.
If you went the fall of 29,
That could be.
then that's one season.
Yeah.
Because right away you're in and playing.
Yeah, right.
The fall of 30 is the second season. He's killed the next April in 31.
31.
So you
right.
So that's 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, not quite, I
Not
don't
qu-
think it was 2.5 years.
It was 2 seasons. It was
Yeah,
2 full seasons
because-
plus little, but it was
yeah.
not quite 2 full
I was
years.
coached under Rockney in the fall of 21, not 30.
Can't be the fall of 31. He was killed in April of
No,
31.
In
30.
Fall
Fall
of
of
30.
fall of 30.
And your freshman year you did what?
Well, I played football too,
But
but
not under him.
no, I had the assistant coach.
Okay, so that makes sense. Okay.
So then you went up to Northland College in the fall of '31.
Yeah, right after I got out of Notre Dame, I had no other place to go, so Maury said, they paid my train fare and everything. Huh?
Okay.
Sid Goldstein,
No, who's Sid
or
Goldstein?
Sammy Goldstein.
Sammy Goldstein went to North.
Who went to-
Oh, he was in Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame.
Notre Dame
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, right.
Wait,
That's the reason I went to Notre
You know,
Dame.
I saw his wife
Oh,
Moy Barron.
long ago.
Moy Barron.
yeah, she's a
Not
student
Maury.
at
About
South
6,
Bend.
yeah,
No,
about 6 or 8 months
That's,
ago.
what's
In
her
fact,
name?
it was a year ago summer.
Can't think of her name, yeah. That's,
So you were,
How did you get to NotreAme?
On a football
with the
scholarship.
IC.
No, I understand.
Isn't that where you once came into a classroom with a hat on? And there was something in the Notre Dame paper about Benny Kane observes Jewish, well, I heard that story from High. Something about you walked in, forgot, didn't want to take your cap off or something.
Nah.
And
Yeah,
they
but-
put it in the paper, Benny Kane observes
They
Jewish.
never talked about Jews up there.
Well.
There was only
Yeah,
three,
if you're-
there was
if you're-
only three of them up there at the time living on campus.
And
That was
Notre
one of them.
Who were the others?
Sammy Goldstein and Sid,
Sid Luckman. Oh, so-
There was three Jewish guys going to school there. But the rest of them, there were Jewish kids that were going from South Bend. They were going to school, take class, you know.
So these.
There were a lot of Jews in South Bend
All
at
three
the
Jewish
time.
guys were on the bar.
There were at that time, but there was students from South Bend going to school there, but they weren't living on campus. There was only the three of us actually that we knew of.
Did they all play football? All three of them?
Sam Goldstein did, and that's Sid Steinberg. Sid Steinberg came from Culver Academy, and his father, I remember his father was a big man with a perfume company. I'm trying to think which. Very big perfume. He was an executive of it. But he lived north.
Okay, I got another question.
Another question?
Yeah, I remember when I was a little girl, Grandpa used to bring double yolk eggs.
Oh, yeah, he used to candle eggs.
Well,
Your dad used to had a friend who was an egg candler, looking at the eggs to see if they were pure and if they were, or if they were double
who
yolk.
was that?
Ah, sure.
Yeah. Oh.
He used to only bring us
Do you
by
remember
the
like that,
dozen.
Larry?
We're not double
Do you remember
yolk
double yolk
eggs.
eggs?
My father, you talking about?
Yes, my father-in-law.
You want to know something? Years ago, everybody used to do
That
that.
was a,
But,
2 yolks.
But he used to have a friend who did that for a living.
oh, that could be,
And
yeah.
he would go over there and he
When do
would
you
get
get
us
double
Yeah.
yolk
the
eggs?
best eggs, which were the double
You pick it
yolk.
no, you can, there's a restaurant,
Bring them home to me.
Yeah, that's,
Well, we lived on Hamlin.
Little Metros, yeah.
You buy the really extra large
Yeah.
egg? You can get them
And I can remember.
There's a restaurant that
I
has,
think they're better candlers in New York or something.
no, there's a restaurant.
And I buy the
Dad,
latte.
Dad,
For the
Yeah.
summer.
Wait a
And
minute.
Hy went in to
When I
get
was
his
a
nose
kid,
straightened out.
When Grandpa would come to visit,
Your
we'd
dad.
always get a dozen double,
They came out to
eggs.
South Haven to get us.
And that's because a
Imagine
friend
in
of
for the
his used to
funeral.
Candle the eggs.
Right. That was in 1942.
What is candle the eggs?
They would hold the egg up to a candle and see whether there
To a
was
light,
bloodlines
to
in
see.
it.
If there was any
You
blood
can see through an
spots.
egg if you hold a light behind it, actually.
Yeah, and they
Very
would
thin
look for the
sugar.
blood spots, and if there were blood spots, they were thrown out. But if they,
That's a kosher
sometimes you could find
Yeah.
a double yolk.
No,
No, it'd be whether the eggs have been fertilized.
Wouldn't-
no, that's not kosher, candling eggs.
No, the blood spots.
Mother.
if you graduated, if there was a year between when you graduated high school and you went to Notre Dame, you know, when I said,
I don't remember if it was a year or something.
Did you
I
just
think
get all your
I
eggs
stayed,
from Grandma?
after I graduated, I think I stayed with Ed Marshall, the coach, helped Wills coach football one season.
so that was the fall after you graduated high school. I
Yeah.
assume you graduated in the spring, right?
Yeah.
So if you helped coach at Marshall for the fall, so it had to be the next fall,
Right.
which was the fall of 1930 that you went to Notre Dame.
Who said that?
Yeah, I understand it. What I'm trying to understand is, if you were in
When did it
Chicago,
start?
yeah, how did they find you? How did you get the scholarship?
Oh, to Sam Goldstein.
A year later.
Yeah,
Or
Sam,
was he a year younger than you?
Sammy Goldstein, a year older than I am. No,
So he was already a
graduated-
junior?
The reason Sam went to South Bend, to Notre Dame actually, was because his sister lived in Mishawaka, and his sister was very wealthy. They were Gladman Furniture Company. They used to be on Roosevelt Road in Boston. They had a big place. But don't forget, this was 30 and 31. Nobody had any money around, so he says, so he was up there one season before I was, or 1 year before I was, and he talked the coach into having me come up. I made all city and all state. And I came up and I got a job right there. And I worked up there for my boardroom and tuition. So after Rockney got killed, I mean, what the hell? Every freshman and sophomore, I think, left the school. That went out for football. They didn't have a chance because I think the alumni were telling them what to do. So it was kind of rough. So I stayed there. I finished off the year. And Maury Byrne had a proposition for me to go up to North College up there. I stayed there for 6 months. And the reason I stayed there was nothing up there. Actually, there's nothing to do up there, but we used to cook the rabbits in our room. We used to make a fire on the floor, on the concrete floor, really.
Did you have much contact with Rockney at all?
Sure, I was right there with him. I was one of the. I made my numerals, my freshman numerals, out of 400 guys. There's only 40 of them that made the numerals.
What does that mean?
That means that
It's like a freshman letter. As a freshman, you get numbers. You don't get a letter. In high school, same thing. You get your numerals.
you get your.
There were 400 guys playing football?
400, great. And not only that, the surprising part was that when we went out for our sophomore year, the first day we were out there in practice, he called everybody by their first name. There might have been 200 or 300 guys out there. Everybody by their first name. You go to that team, you go to that team.
Can I put my dishwasher on now?
You know, that was encouraging. You would think he wouldn't even know you know, but they study it, they know what the hell is going on. So it's, that's the story. I think it sort of changed my life around, actually, I would think. And then I went into the camera business.
No,
I went
barbecue
into
No,
the
barbecue business.
which is a lousy business.
Sauce is good.
With my sauce, that's how good.
When you came back from Northland College then, at the end of 1932,
Yeah, I think it was in 32, yeah.
and you opened the restaurant in 37?
No, I was in the restaurant.
I was 35.
1935, right.
What did you do from 1932 to
I'm trying to
1935?
think, but,
Garage.
Well, the garage was before. It was a,
Did you have a gas station then or a garage?
no, that was before,
How about the war plant? Oh, that was later.
that was later.
yeah.
So what'd you do, what'd you do between Northland College and the barbecue
In the
stand?
barbecue.
I think, wait, I'm trying to think now, it's, where,
Sally? Yeah. Sally.
I think I was bumming around about,
Looks
you know.
great.
How do you bum around for 3 years? It was a depression.
No, it wasn't.
What do you want to know?
What did I, after, remember, like, after I got back from Northern College, I don't remember if I,
He came back to Northern College in 1932. He opened the restaurant in 1935.
33. He worked for Dave. He worked in the gas station until they sold it, which brings you up to the time of August 34 when you met me. And you really didn't live very good before that. And when I met him in August 34, 1934, the end of August,
How did you meet?
we went to a
I was
dance
still in the
downtown.
gas station. I used
My
to-
sister used to do entertainment,
Yeah.
like elocution, you know, dramatic art stuff, and I went with her. She was entertaining,
Yeah.
and I went with because her husband worked. And we met, he came with a couple boyfriends from the west side, because I lived south then, when I was 17 years. And, that's all,
Yeah, I remember.
and
Like,
that
was it instantaneous? Chemistry right away?
He called me, I didn't give I didn't give my phone number, I said we're in the phone book, we're the only Obalski in the phone book. And he got it.
I did call it, and I.
He hasn't looked up a number since. Cause that's too much work for him, we don't want to use the phone book.
This is gorgeous.
Oh, okay, it'll be for something, yeah, you better
Right.
take pictures of funny people.
Right, I'm getting,
All right,
I'm getting a new
let's
picture
stop there. You guys sit there.
of